you've had the first child and they've lived as an only child for a number of years, even if it's short lived, their earliest life was having all of the attention. And then another person comes along and in that initial stages, they're having to share the attention. Maybe even it's balanced a bit more towards the baby because of their needs. Then there's also the thing of the first child is the blueprint. And then the thing that comes after is always compared to the blueprint. It's been quite a busy weekend. What have you just taken the omega
I don't know
omega
why I
three?
put a foot. I don't know why
You
I
just popped an
put.
omega three mid conversation. I didn't know you take fish oil tablets.
Do you know what? I haven't been taking it, and Will gave me this pot, and now he's all monitoring whether I'm taking my omega-3 and my vitamin D. And so now I'm like, oh shit, I need to make sure that I remember to take it. And inconveniently, I just remembered
But what?
as you said.
Why omega three and D? I mean vitamin D. I know why, but what's is there something that you're trying to address? Is it just a general like the age that we're at and supplements being such a thing now?
I think it's overall just health and
Mm.
wealth.
I find it
Um,
interesting the supplements people choose to take though.
yeah, Will has a whole system. He takes turmeric,
Mm.
omega-3, magnesium. I don't think he's on the vitamin D. There's something else. I can't remember what it is. And he takes it every single day. I think he just gave me the omega. Yeah, I think he just gave me the omega-3 because he got it on Amazon. What's that thing where it's like a subscription? And it was just coming too frequently, and he ended
Oh
up with
right.
4 bottles, and he was like, "Take this, have some omega-3."
That's good for your brain.
Yes, and I need it.
What else? Joints? Maybe? No.
I think the oil is good for your skin
Okay.
as well.
There's like really elaborate ones people take these days, like ashwagandha, lion's mane. Like people are taking it to levels that I didn't even know. I don't even know what these things are. Like fungi, are they mushrooms?
Well, I was just gonna say, have you heard of mushroom coffee?
I have. So it's like an alternative. Does it have caffeine in it?
I don't
Is it
know.
like a natural caffeine?
Yeah, I think
But
it's
then,
supposed to give you that energy without giving you the caffeine side effects that aren't so great.
were these stuff around when we were younger and it just wasn't on our radar? Or is it just a new thing of like the era of health and wellness and everyone is really obsessed at the moment?
I think it's a bit of both. I think there was this thing that you said a while ago, about how it's weird as you get older, you just start acquiring knowledge and you don't even know
Hmm.
when and how. Like now I know all of the breeds of dogs and I know different composers and
Hmm.
artists and stuff like that. And it's like, when did that even happen? Why do I know that that's a border collie?
Hmm.
Very strange. But so I do think it is just more awareness, but also we have this weird thing at the moment where we're so obsessed with wellness. We're so obsessed with like,
Yeah.
supplements and all of that. But at the same time, heroin chic is back and
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
really like, it's just
Hmm.
wellness on top of, like, as a layer. And then
Yeah,
underneath, it's actually just, you just need to be thin.
yeah, exactly. It's not heroin chic in that, in terms of the lifestyle of heroin chic, where it's like drugs, cigarettes, Diet Coke, living on that and nothing else, and just being as thin as possible. It's like be as thin as possible, but still be healthy. Your thinness, your diet should comprise of like protein and fiber and green juices, and everyone's really keen on taking care of themselves in that sense, but the aesthetic, the image is represented by very, 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 very thin bodies. But I wonder if it's like a post-COVID thing. Like we're talking about the body trend as one thing, like the thinness, but then also the health aspect of it. I wonder if that's a post-COVID hang up of like there was a whole pandemic. Everyone started being more conscious about health and like getting their bodies into a place where if they are unfortunately struck by some sort of virus, their systems are set up to fight it more effectively. Because remember, like COVID, the big thing was like pre-existing conditions. Then they're the ones that people with those are the ones that most at risk.
Mm.
So maybe somewhere along the way, I don't know, just started thinking, how do we never know what's going to happen. Do you think it might be a post-COVID thing?
I think maybe it probably has an effect, but I don't know what else I would point to that would
Mm.
make that made that shift of like,
I'm trying to think when it started as well. There's definitely like a maybe it's not just post COVID, maybe it's also like the social media influence as well. And rich people and influencers very much live that lifestyle of like going to Air One and getting like a £30 smoothie that's filled with all sorts of microgreens and there's a status attached to it.
you're right. I actually think it's social media, it's the
Yeah.
influencers' fault
It's
again.
honestly and obviously like now with food being more expensive and fruit and vegetables being more expensive and all food being more expensive, junk food as well, like cost of living has gone up so much. Being able to eat like 150 grams of protein a day is extremely expensive. So maybe there's also that like status thing. Whereas before it was like having enough status and influence to be involved in circles that go to after parties where there's like drugs and stuff, being able to afford drugs and that was part of the desirable level or the status symbol in itself. Whereas now it's like having really expensive gym memberships, like going to these gyms that are almost like members clubs in a way, going to Pilates all the time and projecting a certain image of what you can afford and what you can access and what level kind of person you are. And thinness and fatness have always been linked to class in different ways. But the way that we are, the presentation of it currently is very much, I'm the healthiest girl here. There's this Pilates instructor. I don't know if you've seen her on social media, but she's really, really thin. And not to sound like I'm body shaming, but she wears like weights on her wrists and ankles and leads these Pilates classes. And every time I see her videos, I'm like, no one in the comments is talking about it. Like the fact that she can't be well. And for me, it just exemplified like that whole this movement that's happening at the moment of like extremely thin people on social media leading the masses, the Pilates instructor at the front of the class leading the class, and then the thin influencers on social media showing their like what I eat in a day, their workout routines, their fitness routines. And it's not to shame or blame individual people, but there is something to be said about the whole movement and the people heading it up and the young women specifically consuming this and thinking, oh my God, how do I get to that point? How do I look like this? This person's a Pilates instructor wearing weights throughout their workout, extremely thin already, but that's healthy, so it can't be bad. It's fine for me to aspire to that because they got that body through exercise, which is good for you, versus cigarettes and cocaine.
No, I know what you mean. And I think that you mentioning what I eat in a day is obviously we had a new wave of influencers because of how much TikTok grew in during the pandemic. And what I eat in a day, I love watching them, but it is quite a weird concept of
Mm,
just watching and often scrutinizing what people are eating, if it's too much, if it's too little, if they should have had more of this or less of that.
mhm,
And it's that probably has an impact on how we're perceiving food and wellness and what good, quote unquote, good food is.
mhm,
People putting their doing their what I eat in a days and then adding the calories on there and the macros and the obsession that we have with the macros.
mhm.
And yeah, it's an interesting place that we're in.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think on one hand, it's good the amount of knowledge that people have, like on a personal level, about nutrition and food and macros and the breakdown of like what nutrients you need in your body and what does what. On the other hand, I think it's just the thin aspect of it that's adding like a really toxic layer to it. And celebrities, I'm sorry, it's always going to be the Kardashians and the Jenners, right? You look to them to see what the body trend is at the moment. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And they chop and change so much.
exactly. It
Except for
came
Courtney, I feel like she's really pushing away from, I mean, I don't know too much of it, but
on the
of what
surface, it
she's
looks like
done.
that. Yeah, it does look like she's
Yeah.
the least likely one that like is taken by that kind of pressure.
Mm.
It does look like that on the outside. Lord knows what it feels like for her on the inside, and I'm sure that it still gets to her. And like post having her son, was it Rocky? Her most latest one.
Yeah.
After having him, I think I saw an episode where she was talking about some body image hang-ups, which again is normal.
Oh, really? I saw a clip where she was saying to Kim that she hasn't had Botox in how many years? Like
Mm,
f five over 5 years or something. And Kim's immediate reaction was just to get her back up and to be
She
like, "Oh,
felt
you're looking." Yeah, go
she
on.
felt judged immediately.
Yeah, and I think they obviously have a history of judging each other badly, both on both
Sibling
sides,
rivalry. Yeah, it's bad. The sibling
massively.
rivalry between Kim and Courtney is intense.
It's crazy. And they don't even want the same thing. So it's like, it's not like you're competing over something. Yeah, it is
It's
intense and
right.
you can tell it's deep rooted and
Hmm.
it goes way back. But yeah, Kim immediately was like, why were you looking at me like that while you said that?
Oh
Why were you
wow.
looking at my face like, she's like, well done, good for you. You can tell, or something like that,
That's
like,
so funny. That's so
just
funny.
fully went on the defense. And it was just like, sometimes I do think Courtney is saying things earnestly and just saying things.
Mm.
But I think because of her history of being such a judgy bitch in earlier seasons, it's like, of course, they're going to think that you've got like there's
Hmm.
an added underneath subtext that's being said.
Fully. And if they have that dynamic that exists between them and has done, like Kim and Courtney has, that dynamic has existed between them for decades, like literally throughout their childhood, then that they are obviously going to hear each other's words from a specific filter and from a specific expectation of
Mm.
like what their intentions are.
I feel like I still have that. I feel like I think we all sing. I think we all kind of have. It feels like there are certain sentences that are said or ways that things are said that you start thinking, oh, what's being said underneath, especially if it's about a certain characteristic or a situation that rings true from something before. I didn't explain that well,
No,
but
no, I know
I
what you
can give an
mean.
example.
Oh, go on. You offered an
Oh
example.
shit. Yeah, I don't know why I said
You
that.
said you can give an example.
I don't have one off the cuff.
Oh, but then why did
Wait,
you say that you can give an example if you can't give an example? It's just you said you promised us an example.
I think I did just promise an example. It's just so weird. I don't know why I said. Wait, I need to have my omega-3 real quick.
Okay, let me think about my interpretation of what you just said because I think it's to do with like I think with family it's so interesting that there's a fixed image that we think exists in the heads of our other family, immediate family members. And there actually are fixed characteristics that do exist in your head about people that you've known most of your life. But that can sometimes it can sometimes be you projecting, assuming that someone's thinking something about you because it might have been a trait that was mentioned a lot when you were younger, or it might be something that you had done for real when you were younger, and then you just think, oh, people are going to think that I'm just doing that again. When it's like,
Yeah.
oh, actually, we were just asking in earnest. But I do think some things are hard to shake with like family or like friends that you've known since you were a child, like that
Massively.
change. Yeah.
And even if you know that the person's evolved and changed and just as people do anyway, it's a very difficult one. The
Hmm.
labels that sometimes can't shift. I think for me, when I was younger, I always thought that mum thought that I was quite like a wild child.
Mm.
And I really didn't think I was. I don't I don't
Define what you mean, what you mean by wild child in terms of what you thought, how you thought she saw you.
like always wanting to be out, being quite crazy, a bit of a loose cannon, not knowing what she's I'm gonna do next.
What age are we talking about? What age range?
Secondary school, sixth form, uni. I think
Yeah.
even when I was in primary school, obviously not wild in the sense of like age appropriately wild at each
Mm-mm-mm.
stage. So
Mm-hmm.
like, primary school, quite always wanting to go out and quite rough and ready a little bit.
Mm.
Then secondary school, same sort of vibe. Uni, I'm coming back from uni with like bruises on my legs, and mum instantly knows that it's because I've been drunk and I've fallen over or fallen down the stairs, that sort of thing, which was
Mm-hmm.
actually funny because that did happen. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll need to think about that one a bit more. But
It's an interesting one because I had that same thing from mum when I'd always go out in sixth form and uni where she'd be like, oh, you're always going out, you're always drinking alcohol. But I didn't deep it as much as you did. But that will be because of other context, or you already had an image of how you thought she saw you from
mm,
primary school, secondary school. Whereas I don't really know why this was the case. But when it came to me going out and stuff, yeah, she would comment on it, but it didn't feel like such a significant thing. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like that story that we told, what episode is it? Few episodes, not a few, but like some episodes ago, we talked about, we were doing like an episode reminiscing about our nights out stories, and they're
mm,
funny. That's a really good episode. Go back and listen to that if you haven't listened to it. But that story where you came back late after hanging out with your friends and then she threw water in your face.
Yeah.
Mum would never would take it to that level with me.
No.
So I know what you mean about the image that you felt she had of you of that age, because it's not like you were the only one going out.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's got to do with my tail.
Okay, explain to the listeners what this tale is.
We need to
Tale
get mum on the
being
podcast
no,
because I don't even know what the heck she's talking
because
about.
Lord knows, and I suppose well, they're wings as well.
There was wings.
No, seriously, you would think that Chinna was some wild animal. It's true. Because mum would always promise to cut off her tail. And maybe this is the Nigerian parents thing. If anyone else has heard of this phrase, please tell us in the comments. Because mum would always say, that your tail. I will cut off that tail. And it just meant like that thing that leads you to that thing that leads you to be crazy. Before you grow up, trust me, I'm getting rid of that tail.
It's so funny. And she also talks about it as a victory because she's like, I cut those to that tail. Cut that tail off. Don't play with me.
We actually do need to drill into more. And actually, maybe it would help having more of these conversations openly, being like, Mum, so what was that tell? What was it that you thought? So we know from her perspective what she was seeing, because all you have when you're that age is you have the reaction, you have the words or the language, whatever that they're saying, and then you have your interpretation.
Yeah.
All I can do is hear this phrase in the context and then assume, oh, it's because I'm going out, or oh, it's because what behaviors really was it that you'd want to go
Yeah.
out and you'd want to
I'd want my own way. I was quite
yeah.
clumsy. I don't know if the
Do you think the
clumsiness
clumsy
comes
was
into it.
no, because she's clumsy as well. She can't. Mommy's
She's
so clumsy.
always falling
We
over.
cannot.
It's actually not it's not funny. The older she gets, the falling over isn't
Yeah,
as
exactly. Now I tell her off. I'm like, Mom, you really have to stop falling. You actually have to stop falling. This is getting ridiculous. Why are you hurting yourself all the time? Get it together. Maybe we need to get a hold of that tail.
literally. I'm like,
It's our
girl,
turn to cut that tail. Or maybe she needs the tail. Maybe this whole thing, the whole time she needs the tail for balance.
hello. That's so wow, this is feeling like philosophy at the moment.
Honestly, but I know what you mean, and it still comes up now where you're like, oh, she must think that. Even if you're going on holiday, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
like mom's gonna think this, and it's like it's interesting how like with me, you, and Ek, so us three are sisters, and I'm only mentioning us three because we all grew up together, like our whole lives, because there's only 18 months in between us from between me and Chid and me and Ek, who's older. It's interesting the things that mum says, what sticks to each person and what each
Yeah.
person just kind of brush off.
Yeah.
And it's all based on how we grew up and what things we were being told often, or what things were stung us the most, or our understanding of how we were perceived. So there are certain comments that mum makes. I can brush off so much of a lot of the things, but there are other things where I'm like, oh, I know that it's because of this, and she must be thinking that, and I know that everyone's looking at me like this, and actually that's probably not the case, but because growing up you were the one that did this. And that's such an interesting thing as well about siblings, especially if you're close in age. Each person has their thing, and your thing can't be someone else's thing, even if
Mm-hmm.
you also are that thing.
Yes.
You can't, one person has a claim to it, and that's it. It
Yeah.
won't really be seen in the other people as much.
Yes. It's crazy. It's so true.
It's like, oh, your thing is fashion, but I also really enjoy start fashion and style, and like textures and colors, and
Mm.
or your thing is sports, but I also am really into sports and really enjoy like training and playing team sports and watching team sports. Or like your thing is music, but it's
But
just
I think we all sing.
right, exactly, even
Yes.
though we all sing, it will just
It's
be
so true.
yeah,
That's why I hate when people are like, oh, you're the quiet one and you're the
yeah.
this one. It's like, guys.
And sometimes it's only in context outside of your family that you can really discover those other parts of yourself. You're like, oh,
Mm,
actually, maybe I am funny, but in my family, she's the funny one. Well, actually, I am really like, I really do love literature, but in my family, she's the one who reads and writes.
yeah.
But I don't think that our younger siblings are subject to that as much, maybe because of the age gap and less comparison there. And then obviously Chib's a boy, so we've got one brother out of our five siblings, everyone else is a girl. So he can be whatever because it's like, oh, you're the only boy. You can choose whatever you want to be. No one else has claimed that. But then Iffy, our very youngest, who is like 19 years old, she's everything. She never
Yeah.
felt any limit to what she could explore or who she could be. I don't think. I know she felt pressure
Mm.
to like meet up and match up to a certain level that she saw growing up, but she's got her hands all over the things that I claimed, or I thought I had claimed to. She's got hands all over the things that you staked a claim to, and and the thing is with these things, these traits and characteristics and interests, it's not you that claims it. It's projected from other people. It's
Other
given to you by
people.
other people. It's like, oh, at this age, you're the one that's really loving, creativity. And it's like, oh, she's so creative. You're the creative one. And then
Mm.
everyone around you accepts that. But with Iffy, yeah, I don't know if you agree with that analysis with Iffy, but I feel like
No,
yeah,
I think she's
she's
everything.
she's
Yeah,
every
she's all
she's
she
all of it.
she
She's
is.
so rounded, like well rounded, like sports, which I saw was X thing. She's
Yeah,
she's all over, even though you were really sporty as well and still are. So
yeah.
interesting.
It's
And then literature
your
and like
writing.
academics, which is my thing, apparently, in a way. But if he's like all over it and then the thing is she gets it and she takes it to another level
Yeah, where she likes is wants to be a
where she's like published something set on her own and like is hosting like book readings at her school library.
and it's on BBC News for
And
her
it's
rowing
right. She's
for her
part of the
rowing
rowing
career.
team. She's part of the rowing club at her school, and she's
She's a
being interviewed by BBC News about it.
second regional champion in Jack Petchy's Speak Out Challenge, which
Right.
is absolutely crazy.
Right. It's got her hands on everything. I have so much to say about like siblings and age order and gaps and how so much of it you don't shake into adulthood. It stays with you.
Yeah.
You live with it.
That's why you have to be so careful, so
Girl.
intentional about the way that you
Girl.
raise children, especially when you have multiples. Like you have to think
Yeah.
about how you're talking to them, what you're saying about them, what you're saying around them. It all
What
sticks.
you're not saying to them, what things you aren't
Mm,
praising in them, what things you aren't encouraging in them. But every time I have this conversation or think about this whole thing of like your first 5 years are literally those foundational years are so critical to how you see the world, yourself, other people, your place in the world, who you can be, who you are. Every time I think about that, I just think the pressure is so much as a parent that I actually don't know if I can be bothered to take on that challenge.
I don't know that I can do it.
Because you're just gonna, I don't want anyone to turn around and point at me and talk about all the things I didn't do that I should have done. And it's inevitable
Yeah.
because that's of course, you're not born knowing how to be a parent.
And
But I
it's
just
like,
can't be
wait,
asked.
I'm not allowed to say that you're annoying, or I have to say what your action was annoying. Can't say you're
And
an
like,
annoying
and
person
even,
because you're
even,
gonna take that label.
even small things like, oh, just give me a second, honey. Not right now.
Oh God.
Not right now.
Neglected. They're
Mum never,
neglected.
mum never had time for me. She was always feeding the baby. She was always working.
And
There's
then the baby
always
that's being
something.
fed, she always just kept feeding me. That's always some
Why didn't you
criticism.
stop feeding me? There's always something. No one's ever going to be happy. So I can't be asked with that.
Oh God.
I don't know that I can take it graciously. Like when I have to, the standards are so high. The standards are so high. Everyone, you have to know what you're getting into before you be a parent. Because when that child comes to you at age 18 or that adult comes to you at age 26 and tells you, mum, or even older, like 30, and they're like, I'm just about to have my own child. And it's, oh, I've had my own child, and it's making me realize all the things that you fucked up with. And yeah, let's sit down and talk about it. And can I have an apology? I'll be looking at them like, do you know what I gave up? I don't know that I could accept it graciously, and I have to be able to. Until I can, children are off the table for me. Until I can see myself sitting down and listening earnestly and my head not getting hot. 'Cause I could just imagine how much my blood temperature will be rising as they're telling me that I fed them too much. They ate too much good food. I was going to M&S every day. I was doing everything to make sure you had an amazing life, but one error here and there. But then again, whenever mum is called out for things or subjects are raised about how she brought us up or things that she said that we didn't quite like, and I feel like Ek is very good at challenging or or tabling the discussion in a way that is very productive. And then mum
Mm.
is always very receptive and apologetic. And
Yeah, and I see that happening in real time, and I'm still like, I don't know if I want to broach certain things.
mhm,
I mean, and it's not like there's so many things that I wanna say. I don't even think about them often, but there'll be times you do think about them. And actually, it's funny. We were at the house this weekend. Was it this weekend?
yeah.
At Mum's house, going through old pictures, stacks and stacks of old pictures of us looking beautifully, uh-uh, beautifully put together, hair always done, socks folded neatly with the nice white trim around the socks,
Hmm.
the lace trim.
Cohorts for days, like
Oh,
fur collared cardigans and cutest sandals and matching outfits and sweatshirts and shorts. We looked so cute in all the
we looked
pictures,
so
Vaselined
cute
up to the guards.
and just happy.
Yeah.
So happy. Like the pictures are just lovely. Like the ones of us sat around a table eating together
Hmm.
really are just so cute. Yeah, and when I look at those pictures, I'm like, oh my God, she did so much. She really did try.
Hmm.
She really, really did try.
Yeah, she
But every
did.
so often you do have those moments of like, oh my God, why do I have this? I wish that,
Yeah.
like, even when you said the other, when we were looking at those pictures and you were looking at little Og and
Hmm.
being like, I wish more people told her how beautiful she was or how cute
Yeah.
she looked. And I'm
I wish it
like,
was more of a
that's,
thing. I feel like growing up it was something that I heard a lot about Ek, like that she was so I remember that it was a thing that was emphasized and even indirectly like when she'd be having a hard time at school with her friends and she'd be crying to mum after school, mum would be like, they're just jealous and things like that. So my mind would hear that and think, oh, okay, they're jealous. What things are people usually jealous about and what traits does Ekina have that means that they'd be jealous? And it'd be a long list of things, but the main thing that I would always think about is her beauty. And I
mm,
think it was something that I always saw as like I always used to think of us as very as opposite ends of the spectrum. And we are very
okay.
different people. Would you say out of all five siblings, who would you say are the most different?
Oh my gosh, I've never thought about that. Maybe it is you and you
Yeah,
and Ek.
I think it's me and Ek. So I
Yeah.
always thought, so because I always thought of us as opposites, if she was something, I always thought that I wasn't. And if she was getting told that she was something all the time, it's also because I wasn't being told those things too. And I'd be there, I'd be right there. And then people would be like, oh yeah, oh God, she's so beautiful, she's so cute, she's so this. And I wouldn't be told that. So it'd be like, okay, she's this and I'm not. And there were loads of
Mm,
ways that we were very opposite. But yeah, I just wish that I'd been told that, yeah, been told that more growing up because I was. When I look at pictures,
hmm.
I'm like, wow, I was so pretty, but I never felt that growing up. I do now, but I never did. I think the comments that I would get more often was like, I'd get complimented more on my intelligence and stuff like that. And not to say that it's the be all and end all that everyone thinks that you're beautiful, but it is important for your like self-esteem
Of
as a
course.
young black girl in this patriarchal society. Like we can't ignore that beauty is a currency in itself and it does impact how you interact with the world and how the world interacts with you. So that's something that, and also what I find really interesting is whenever I speak to Ekna about this, she had like similar feelings around the intelligence thing for me, where she felt like, yeah, a certain kind of way, which is so crazy because I think we're all smart. Like Ek is obviously extremely intelligent. She's literally a doctor. Do you know what was quite funny? Again, this happened yesterday where Ek was we were talking about you and like how it was only later in life that I started to even see your characteristics in your like person. I started seeing you as a person in your own right because I'm sure that a lot of older siblings can relate to this. And I hope a lot of other older siblings can relate to this because I think it is a thing and it's not just me where your younger siblings and maybe even your siblings in general, but definitely your younger siblings are just like a
NPC.
yeah, literally. I was gonna say side character, but literally NPC. And you don't really see them as a person in their own right until you start seeing them outside of the family context again, and you're like, oh, people see them as this, or oh, people are talking them about them like this. And one of the earliest times for me where that started to I started to see you as your own individual was when one of your friend, oh, someone who you went to school with, was talking about how intelligent you are. And it's not to say that I didn't think that you were intelligent or I thought you were not intelligent. It was that I didn't think of you as having any any traits. It's so odd. I just didn't think of you as existing outside of my life.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's what it is.
Mm,
But obviously now I know I can see you as a full person. I can see all the amazing characteristics that you have, and one of them being you being very, very smart and very articulate and very, very good at like making a point, speaking for yourself. Like, yeah, clearly the way that you think is very nuanced and impressive. So me and Ek were talking about this, and Ek, the way that Ek phrased it was, she was like, "Yeah, I feel like growing up, maybe Chid was in your shadow."
mm.
What did you think when she said that?
I was like, I get what you mean because we kind of were. It was like Ek. Ek was like the star, the
Yeah,
Kim.
yeah. Ek was
Like,
literally, and I was going to bring it back to the Kardashians because we were talking about Kim and Courtney at the start, and I was going to bring
yes.
it back there because there's definitely something about the first two, and sibling rivalry is
Mm.
often the most intense with the first two. I've
Yeah.
noticed, even with sisters and brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
But sorry, you continue.
No, I do think I get what she means about the shadow. I thought of it as more of a partnership,
Hmm.
but
As in, because
but
Ek,
like
so you were saying that Ek was like the star. Ek was like, yeah.
yeah. But I get that Ek has her own other things because she was compared a lot and like
And she had the pressure of being the eldest daughter and having to be the example. And
exactly getting it
yeah,
right the first time so that the rest can follow
yeah,
suit. Like
she had
that's a
way more
real
intense scrutiny on her because it was very much like she had to be the perfect mold so that we were looking up to her and copying the good things that
yeah.
she was exhibiting.
And she was the first grandchild as well. So it was like aunties and uncles were looking to her as
Mm,
well. Like
mm-hmm,
you're gonna be big cousin and you're gonna do it
mm-hmm,
right.
mm-hmm,
But I when I was growing up saw her as like perfect,
mm-hmm,
genuinely. I
mm-hmm,
was like, people think she's perfect and she is. So,
mm-hmm.
that's there. And then it always sounds like I'm making it seem like you're so like not perfect. But it was just like I just felt like you were more accessible.
Mm,
Is that maybe that's the
mm-hmm,
thing word? But I still really looked up to you and thought you were really cool and thought you were so clever. And I think that was another thing why that was another reason why I didn't think I was very clever. Because I was like, X super clever. She's going to
mm-hmm,
be a doctor. She's getting all these A stars. Og is so, I just saw it as a natural thing.
mm,
Like I knew that Ek worked hard and all of that. And I think you did as well. But I just thought that you were born with it.
mm,
You've always been really smart. You're really witty in the way you speak, like the way, the points that you make, the way you think about things. I always just thought it's just like turning on a tap with Og. It comes easy to her.
mm-hmm,
And I guess I did just kind of follow the things that you did.
mm.
So I get why X said about the shadows thing. Like, if you were going, I don't know how to
Yeah, because
describe
I didn't see it that way of it, there being a shadow. I think I get what she was saying
it.
in that, but I think that links more back to the this is your thing. Og's the intelligent one, Chid's the like fun-loving one,
Oh, I
and
was
with
gonna
that,
say crazy one, the tail girl.
no, it's definitely like fun-loving. Maybe with that image, it feels like there's less room for that. Like maybe intelligent feels like very serious and very like studious and maybe a bit more intense, whereas fun-loving is light and humorous and spirited. So maybe there's that, because I don't think that I cast a shadow. Do you know what I mean? In the way that I don't, maybe again, that's just from where I was looking at it. I don't think there was a shadow that you were under. I think it was more each person owning something and there being less thought about where other people also sit within that thing.
Mm, mm.
But it is definitely something that you have to be conscious of when you're having multiple children who fall within, like how they fall within the age order and how that impacts the way they relate to each other and think about themselves. there's this woman on TikTok who is not quite right. And this actually links to the conversation that we were having earlier about the people that represent what wellness looks like today. And it's really the credibility they have comes from how thin they are. And
Mm.
it's like, okay, they're really thin and they're doing these behaviors. That must be like a healthy way to be thin, as long as it's not starvation. So this woman, she's called what's her name? Rebecca. This woman on TikTok who her whole thing is that she cooks these fucked up meals in her kitchen and she doesn't use any oil or butter. And it's all very much like whole foods. So on the surface, it sounds fine. It's all focused around protein and vegetables and like whole foods. So she'll get a whole piece of fish, put it on the pan. No, first of all, she gets her pan, heats it up, throws in like 12 to 30 cloves of garlic. And then she puts a whole fish on top, and then she'll just start throwing in whole vegetables in there. Like as in
Random shit.
she'll slice an onion in half, put it in there with the skin on. She'll get like a potato, throw it in there. She just puts everything in there. She'll put broccoli in there, green beans, carrot. She'll put plantain in there if she wants. But she also will not give any thought to cooking times of each thing. Everything will go into the one pan, and then she'll put some turmeric over it, no salt, maybe sometimes black pepper, and then pour water and submerge the whole thing in water, put the lid on and cook it, and then come back in like half an hour, and then however it is, eat it. And it's all this mush of like, it'll be the color of whatever vegetable she has in there. So if she's got purple cabbage, the whole thing is just one murky ass. It's honestly, it's the least appetizing thing I've ever seen, but I cannot look away. And she'll just eat out of the pan with like raw onions on the side and chilies. And yeah, sorry, I'm going down a tangent about like giving way too much context about what she posts. But what I find interesting about her, or why I brought her up, is that she has three daughters. And she's a single mom. She's I think she's from Bangladesh, lives in America, talks about her background of like how she divorced her husband and how much freedom that's given her from like the patriarchal expectations of what a woman's and a mother's and a wife's role is in the family. The food thing is part of like a liberation thing for her because she doesn't concern herself about how she cooks her meals. She's not having to like be in the kitchen for 12 hours cooking for a man, and she just does what she wants and eats out of the pan, and that does her. But she has her three girls, and they all seem to be pretty close in age, probably about 2, 3 years between them. And her middle child, she refers to them all as their age, as their like place. So she'll be like, and this one, she'll be plating up their food, and just to say she cooks separate meals for herself. So it's normal meals for her kids, but she'll be plating it up. And she'll be like, okay, this one's for the middle child, this one's for the youngest, this one's for the, and she'll always vary up the order in which she starts, but often, most of the time, she'll start with the middle. And she talks a lot about how conscious she is of like that middle child syndrome thing, of how the middle child is always forgotten. But now when you go in her comments, people are always like, oh, your middle child's your favorite, the middle child's the favorite. And it's because she's trying to redress the balance by giving her a bit more attention than she maybe naturally would.
Mm.
But it's kind of flipping it a little bit where it's still not equal,
Yeah.
but maybe it never will be. But yeah, just all that to say, an awareness of how all of these things impact the child is important. I don't know if it's always possible to combat it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you stop that? And as someone who was the middle child for a number of years and also the second oldest, so had that thing of the sibling rivalry of the first
Hmm.
two,
Hmm.
what would have been helpful for you?
I don't know. I think maybe just celebrating your uniqueness. I think not making it so that we have to be a version of something specific. It's just like let the child develop how they are. And then as you see different strengths emerging in them, praising them all equally, but not in a way that makes it feel like this is you and you, that means that the flip side of it, you are not. To be honest, I don't really have the answer.
Mm.
I don't know what would have been helpful. I think sibling rivalry is maybe natural. Maybe not. I don't
It,
know.
it it does feel inevitable just because that's how it has been, but
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily mean it should always be the
Yeah.
case. It feels
Yeah.
like there's something that we can do, but yeah, it is hard to know.
Yeah. The
I don't
rivalry
know.
with me and Ek, I don't even know if maybe I would call it rivalry, I guess. Did it play out in the same way as like Kim and Courtney? Probably
No.
not. No. I think it was more that it's hard to remember as well. It's actually hard to remember, especially now that we've got such an amazing relationship, like a deeply trusting relationship where we are still ourselves, like we're still different people and we still are going to have different stances and we're always looking at things from different way in different ways. Literally, I feel like every time we're always challenging each other.
Mm.
So because we've been that way for so long, where we're so close, it's hard for me to remember what it actually looked like when we were younger. I remember how I
Hmm.
felt. I don't remember how what the dynamic actually looked like.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's weird though. I feel like you said this before. Ek was telling us about something, a debate her and Tommy were having, and she was like, "Guys, I need you to tell me whose side you're on and what do you think?"
Hmm.
And obviously, we were like, "Girl, you're right. He's
We were
wrong.
fully aligned, fully
Case
aligned.
closed."
And even if we were looking, we come to the same conclusion, even if it's different points that took us there. It's
Exactly
like,
that. And you were like, "Oh my God, we're literally the same people in different fonts."
mhm.
And I was like, oh my God, that's so funny to think about what kind of fonts that we would be.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know, I don't know the fonts that well, but I was gonna say how I don't know that you guys are, yeah, you're different personalities, but you
Hmm.
have the similarities and the things that you agree on
Yeah. Our
are
core
like
values.
core.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're definitely aligned with our core values, and as we get older I also see more ways that we're similar as well. And I think that the whole thing of us being the same person in different fonts, I think it's just us three all being mum,
Yeah.
different expressions of her. I think that's
Yes.
literally what it is that we're just getting to that age now where we are just seeing ourselves turn into our mum.
And it's crazy because I genuinely, growing up, could not find a single thing that I had in common with mum.
Mm.
Didn't think I was like her at all. Didn't necessarily. This is making me sound like I don't like mum. I hope it's not
No, no,
sounding
it's
like.
not. It's not because I relate to this. I
Yeah.
also didn't because how did you see her? What did you think of her when you were younger? What image did you have of her that was so antithetical to how you saw yourself?
She didn't like having fun. She was so
Ah.
militant about doing things. Like in the sense that I do think she was funny and she had friends and stuff, but I didn't see her like
She wasn't
I just didn't
concerned with like going out
understand.
all the
Yeah,
time, and
I just did not under
she was quite a
did not
homebody
understand
actually.
why she didn't like she was so like yeah, she's such a homebody. She doesn't really like crowds. She's strangely introverted but extremely
She's the
extroverted at the
life and
same.
soul of the part of a party.
Yeah.
So do you know what's crazy is I hearing you say this, it's like, oh, it's so interesting how we can receive the same inputs and information, but come out with something, a different view. Because
Mm,
I saw her when I was saying that I didn't see myself as similar to mum growing up, is I saw her as really vivacious, really loud and high energy. And yes, she wasn't always the one to initiate an outing, but when she was at the outing, the dance floor would be empty. She would be on there. She'd be the
yeah.
person to open up the dance floor. I saw her as like social, hilarious. She'd be the one like in the middle getting everyone laughing. But then it's only when I got older that I actually could see that she is very introverted. She's an introvert. I thought of
Mm,
her as an extrovert my whole life, and I'm an introvert. So I was like, I can't relate to the energy that she has and the confidence to like talk to anybody as well. And
yeah. But she's actually quite shy as well.
right, right. She is. So she's so there's all
Shock.
these contradictions. But yeah, so I saw her when we'd be at parties and she was like always dancing, dancing, dancing. And that's a difference with me, where I'd be like, you are not ever going to find me opening up a dance floor. The thought of it is literally even making my hands sweat right now. So okay, but you were like more on the side of like, I guess you were picking up on the fact that she was introverted, but you didn't see it
Yeah.
her that way. So you were picking up the fact that you were an extrovert who liked going out, whereas she wasn't. She didn't really get the point or see what the compulsion was.
Yeah, where's the value in it? Why do you
Yeah.
constantly want to be doing it so much?
Hmm.
And why do you always want to be staying at a friend's house? And a lot of the time just saw her as a barrier to my
Hmm.
fun.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm so like her,
Yeah. Fully. I feel
down to
like you
the way we
guys are.
look.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are probably the most. Like I think you're literally mum. Like the way
Yeah.
you act, the way that you act, the things that you like, the mannerisms. Will was even like saying that you guys walk the same.
Yeah.
the fact that you're both, you literally are twins. Like it's crazy. So yeah, it is interesting how we grow up and we just become our parents in ways that we would never even expect as well. Is sibling rivalry as intense in siblings? We've noted that usually it's the first two, and I think that's the whole thing of like, there's one, you've had the first child, and they've lived as an only child for a number of years, however long it is. Maybe it's even brief, even if it's short lived. Their earliest life was having all of the attention, and then another person comes along, and in that initial stages, they're having to share the attention. Maybe even it's balanced a bit more towards the baby because of their needs. But then there's that aspect of like, okay, a new person's come in and changed the whole dynamic and understanding of life and also of my parents' attention and all of that. But then there's also the thing of the first child is the blueprint, and then the thing that comes after is always compared up to the blueprint. So that comparison, I think comparison is definitely the biggest thing that was the impacting mine and Ekene's relationship. 100% it was the comparison, direct and indirectly. If one person's like, oh, Ekene say like this, oh, and we're both doing the same thing, it's like it's saying that Ogachukwu is not like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think that those things definitely impacted it. But what I was asking was, is sibling rivalry as intense where it is just two kids and there aren't any siblings that follow? Is one more or less intense? Does having subsequent children after the second one reduce the rivalry of the first two? Does it have any impact? Is it the same?
Surely it'd be worse.
How so?
Because then it's just constantly just them two, just them two, just them two. And also the
Mm,
focus is just them two. When you spread it out and have four or five,
mm-hmm,
then there's other people to comment on and there's similarities that you can bring out that celebrate them
mm-hmm,
as well. And it makes it less intense because it's
mm-hmm.
not just constant at those two, I think.
And also, I think I agree with that actually, because also the younger ones that come, I do think the pressure reduces and the expectations reduce in a way for the younger ones. And this is all very, very generally speaking, because I also mentioned earlier in the episode that Iffy, our younger sister, felt a lot of pressure, and a lot of that was internal. But I think the pressure and internal pressure also comes from somewhere. She would have been responding or reading something in the environment that would have manifested as a sense of pressure within herself. But with the ones that come after, it just gets a bit less intense. And you can kind of be like, at that point, you've also accepted that people are different.
Mm.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
you're going to get, at that point, you've had the first one, they've given you an expectation of what children are going to be like. Then you have the second one, and you're comparing it to the first one, and you're like, oh, but that's not happening. Or this is happening. And then with those two, you're understanding, okay, people are different. And okay, I don't know if this is even, if I'm making the point clearly enough, but you're understanding that people are different. So when the third one comes along, the expectation that they're going to be exactly like the first has severely lessened. So
Yeah.
you're able to accept what they bring a lot faster, and so on and so forth. And that attitude spreads up and emanates up into the other two that we're getting all those expectations. It's like, okay, no, now we know from the other ones that you can be different, but I guess by then it's too late.
Yeah. The damage already has been
Damage is
done.
done. But I'd love to hear Courtney and Kim really, really sit down and analyze why their relationship is the way that it is today. And obviously, we only see the things that we see in the show. And
Yeah, and they say they're incredibly close and they're always together actually. And but yeah, the things that we do see, it's fraught, even when they're not having a direct argument and Courtney is just saying, hey, I haven't had Botox in 5 years, and then suddenly
hmm,
there's a kind of argument
yeah,
or a snapback,
yeah,
clapback.
like the things that trigger them, like obviously it comes from somewhere. I feel like we always use the Kardashians to analyze our family.
Yes, because in an alternate universe, we're actually
We're the Kardashians.
there's a show on us because Jesus, our life's a show.
I'm not gonna lie, we'd have storylines for days. We'd actually have to halt some things and pause some things and be like, okay, we can't address this right now because we've got a billion other
Yes.
storylines going on. And to be honest, there are so many things happening right now that I can't wait for them to die out and just be a bit, oh. just be a bit less intense so that we can, so that it's not actively happening and we can actually talk about it. And trust me, we will do a 12-part series when the time is right.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
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 we'll leave
that's
it
true.
there. Leave it there for now.
But it's so funny thinking about a show where we're the Kardashians because the production, they'd be frothing at the mouth. They'd be so excited. They'd be so
God, it's
happy. And we would
juicy.
be constantly fighting, being like, listen, we're not talking like that right now. We
Hmm.
can't.
Hmm.
I'm still processing it.
Hmm.
That is, yeah, well, but yeah, they're just easy to compare. And also there's similarities there in terms of
There's like a billion of them and there's a billion of us.
exactly.
And they're also very tight knit and all very different, but celebrated. And I think also just to say, in this episode, we have obviously discussed a lot about the not so good side of things when you have so many siblings and you grow up so close in age. But obviously, we're all best friends now.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with the Kardashians, where they're all so close. We enjoy spending time together, going on holidays together, going out together. So I think it's that, and we're all very much in each other's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Genuinely
at
wouldn't.
all, at all. You literally could not drag me away from my siblings. Literally, you could not. I'm sorry. If anyone's moving out of the country, I'm gonna have to. We're all gonna have to go.
We'll have to have a discussion about when, where, the
Mhm.
logistics, how do we make it work?
Mhm. Yeah, literally, it's never just going to be a decision on with that person. Even I really wonder what it's going to be like when we have our own kids and our own families in that way, because we are so codependent.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. We are so codependent,
I was gonna
and
say intertwined.
and in a way, I reckon it probably would get even more codependent because now it's like I don't know what to do with these children.
Yeah. I need
I want
help.
to,
And also,
right, give them to their cousin, like spend the night with their cousins. I want to drink wine with my
yeah,
sisters.
exactly. I want them to be close. But I also, those are my nieces and nephews.
Right,
I want them to be around my house all the time. I
right.
want them
Those
to
are
be
my
around them all the
kids.
time.
Yeah,
Exactly. Oh
Billy.
my God. Yeah, it's gonna really snowball.
Yeah.
It's so funny that when you move to Hertfordshire fully, like
Hmm.
obviously you're staying at mine, but when you move out and you're settled in as well, oh my God,
Every day,
it's gonna be amazing.
every day. And my mum's house is what 15 minutes drive away from us because
If
me and Chid
that,
are literally going to be living across the road from each other.
yeah.
So my mum's house is like, yeah, 10-15 minute drive. And she's now getting her, like currently as we speak, she's getting a new driveway put in. She's done the whole garden up. Next week it's going to be like 27 degrees. I'm trying to be in that garden every single day
A
this
hundred
summer.
percent. 100%.
So yeah, I just see it being like mum's house being the base and just like everyone popping in and you just drop in one day to have some food and you see like, oh, what's your child going to be called again?
Eli.
What's little Eli doing here? I didn't know Eli was going to be around today. Like, I think it's just so beautiful having such a huge family of different personalities, and now we can all recognize how amazing each person is in their individual makeup of like traits and personalities. Whereas before, yeah, growing up, it didn't feel that much. It didn't feel that
Exactly.
way.
Exactly, but also recognizing it in mum, like, yeah, she's also multifaceted. She's also
Yeah,
introverted and can
yeah.
come across extroverted and is also this and that and
Mhm,
has all these different traits and it's
mhm.
wonderful. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so
Wow.
funny. At the start of this episode, you said we had such a busy weekend and we didn't even talk about it because we went
Honestly,
into a
'cause
spiral of omega-3.
literally, that's crazy. Because I thought we were going to talk more about our Beyonce night.
Oh my God. And how
So,
I ended up. I guess my tail my tail is still there's a nib.
uh,
There's a nib left.
maybe the tail just is like folded away and sometimes it pops out. But yeah, so Beyonce, the last episode, Chid's speaker was our Beyonce, like a Beyonce night. I think, what's it called? 10 Years of Lemonade, like a live band performs Beyonce.
Yeah.
And I wasn't initially going to go. Well, I think I was umming and ahhing about it. Chid made a really great pitch. And yeah, I did end up joining on that night. It was so fun. You could not tell any of us in the crowd that that wasn't Beyonce on the stage. The reception was as if Beyonce herself were performing her ass off. And the crowd was amazing. Beehive, fully like 97% women. And
Yeah. And that's what also made the night so amazing. It was like a women's only event and then some of their boyfriends, which
yeah,
that's a separate
the
conversation.
boyfriends, the boyfriends being there was so jarring. It threw me off every time. Like on the dance floor at one point, there was one man that was just kind of getting in my way a little bit. And I was like, why are you even here? And the thing is, the reason why he was getting in my way is because he was just kind of standing quite still. You know, like if
Yeah.
everyone's moving around and moving and swaying around, like you're not going to really get in each other's space. But he was just standing there, and I was like, who brought you? And lo and behold, I turn and I see his girlfriend there. And it's so funny because all night she was dancing with him and they were dancing like back to back. No, not back to back.
That'd be weird. He's her
Like,
security guard. Her back was on his front.
yeah, like whine, like in a whining position, but not whining. They were both standing up and he was just holding her waist and they were just like moving, but like it wasn't giving.
It's so strange because I'm like, you do realize this isn't the live band performs Coldplay or live band performs Adele. This is
This is
Beyonce.
Beyonce, and it was, and
You can't just be swaying together
you
like this
can't
is
be.
your
And I
first
felt he
dance.
he was restricting her. He was holding her back, and when I'd look at them, she'd make eye contact with me, or okay, I'm making it seem like she was actually a victim. But we caught eyes with each other, and she smiled at me, like she kept making an extra effort to like smile, and I could just tell that she wanted to be with the girls. I was just thinking, why did you bring your boyfriend? We could have all been dancing together. And then there was another couple who were they were like face to face and it was all very lovey and dovey and we were singing Break My Soul.
Yes!
I break my soul and you're gazing into each other's eyes. We were singing cozy and the crowd has split and Beyonce's walking through the aisle like voguing and you guys are staring into each other's eyes. It was highly inappropriate. It was not the time or space for it at all.
Oh
And I was
my
feeling
god. It's so funny.
a lot of sympathy really. I was like, I know you guys didn't you maybe they thought it was going to be less of an intimate event. It was Night Towers Loft, so it wasn't a huge venue. So it was very much the girls and Beyonce and the band, and it was just amazing. Maybe they thought it was going to be more like a club vibe. And I reckon when they got there, they were like, ah, shit, this is not the place for me and my man right
Yeah,
now.
I think because they do like jazz nights, and I think maybe that kind of atmosphere of like a live band, and you've got your boyfriend, like that would be a really nice date night going to like a jazz bar, and it's a bit more chilled. There's pizza, there's a bar,
Yeah,
there's it's that kind of vibe. No, this was an intimate night for the girls and Beyonce, and
yeah,
it was
yeah.
I loved it.
It
I
was
loved it.
it was so good. It was so good. Lemonade did not play once.
Mm, mm,
I think they
mm-mm.
did a little. Chid kept being like, okay, so lemonade now. Do you think lemonade's next? And there was like a 10-minute break at one point so that the band could like get themselves together. And Chid was like, oh, part two. This must be where it gets to lemonade. We never heard lemonade. Essentially, it was we're marking the fact that it's been 10 years of lemonade by performing Beyonce all night. But it was all
Yeah,
her albums. There was
yeah.
Get Me Bodied. There was
Oh,
it was it was too good.
there was some Renaissance. Did she
There
do?
was Renaissance. There was Cowboy Carter. I'm pretty sure that we did Texas Hold'em, which is not my favorite one, but
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, it was good.
it
It
was
was
good. The energy
fun.
was high all night. And then, speaking of, we obviously were like, let's keep these good vibes going. So it was me, Chid, Veronica, and Melina, who are like Chid's friends. Melina was like, let's go back to mine for afters. We did that. And that's where things kind of take a bit of a turn.
Yeah, they take a turn, and I'm going to be really honest. Once I left the club, the memory goes for me personally from that night. We drank like fishes. Let me
Yeah.
say that.
It
We
was a
had
Thursday night.
to.
It was a
It was
Thursday
a.
night. We all had work the next day.
Me and Og got ready together in my room. I
Two
bought
buzz balls, I
about.
swear.
Well, in total, I bought 9 buzzballs,
Was
which
it?
is
No, I think it was more like six.
6.
We
Okay,
had
fine.
three each. Oh
Okay, they.
shit.
No, but there was one for
For
Ron.
Ron's, maybe you did buy nine. Maybe it was eight. I don't know. It was a lot of buzz balls. We lost count. We drank before we even left the house. I think we were two, three buzz balls in each. No, you had like two things of vodka.
Yeah, which is so crazy because I'm a rum girl for a night out. I haven't had
Yeah.
a vodka night out since uni.
Yeah.
So,
We drank vodka in the club. There was like double raisin. Yeah, there was tequila shots.
oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Long story short, the night ended with me having to expel all of the alcohol that I had from both ends at the same time. That's all I'm going to say. And honestly, I'm so grateful that I have a friend like Melina. I'm so grateful that I'm so close to my sister in this way. And I'm grateful that they
Chid was in a bad way at literally at Melina's house, fighting for her life. Like all of that vodka and tequila and rays was just coming up and coming out. Yeah, had to leave shortly after. Obviously, booked the Uber to go straight home. When I got home, it was my turn. Just the one end for me. I was throwing up a storm. And it's always the Uber really gets to churning and turning your stomach.
yeah.
I was in the back of that Uber with my stomach flipping and dipping and tripping. And I was just holding on for dear life. As soon as I got in, it all flew out. And then the next morning we had to log in. And I had a client meeting at like 9:30 for an hour, and the rest of the day just did not stop. So literally when we were all at Melina's house, me and Ron were just like, what have we done tonight? Why did we do this? Why did we drink so much? It was meant to be a chill one, knowing that we had work the next day. And it's not those days where we can just
Bounce back
bounce back.
and be fine. And even go again the next day. No, 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 no.
Mm-mm.
It was rough. I woke up shaking.
Yeah.
I had
Oh,
to
yeah,
swig a
same.
Pepto-Bismol. I don't even know how to
Bismol.
say that.
Is
Pepto-Bismol,
it? Yeah.
the pink drink that helps settle your stomach. I had a swig of that. Didn't eat anything until like 2:30 because I just couldn't bear it. And for me, that's crazy because I have to eat my meals at certain times.
Hmm.
So
You were just in and out of
yeah,
consciousness the whole next day as well.
seriously.
I don't think I saw you awake for more than like 10 minutes on Friday.
Honestly, and I had a team meeting at the start of the day, 9 a.m. had to log in. I couldn't put my camera on and was just honest. I was like, listen, I was out yesterday. I took it too
Did you
far.
actually?
Yeah, I said I was out. I said I don't really feel well, guys. That's why I've got my camera off. Self-inflicted. I was out last night. Don't feel good. And then my manager's manager was like, yeah, you need to take it easy today. And I was like, bet.
Thanks for the permission.
Literally, if you insist, I will. So yeah, it was a rough one, but it was a very fun night,
It
and
was worth it. It's definitely
yeah,
worth it.
I'm looking forward to another.
Yes. Did you you were out last night as well? Did
Yeah, I
you
was
end up
out.
drinking there? Because you were like, I'm not drinking ever again in my life.
Yes, although caveat to that statement, it was my friend's birthday dinner. So
You've
yes,
got
I did.
to. You've got
Yeah, I
to be a
did. I
good
had.
friend. You got to show up for her.
Yeah, she was popping a bottle of prosecco. I was like, yeah, get those flutes out. Had a bit of that, and then we went to Bow in King's Cross. That's actually my speaker. I have been to Bow before. I've been to the Bow in
Borough.
Borough. Yes, that one's really cute, intimate, small.
As
This
in the
one,
tables and chairs are tiny. I felt like a
the,
huge. I felt like a giant. I felt like I was in Jack and the Beanstalk. But also, Bow we have put on speaker before.
oh my God, you have.
Yeah.
It was when you went with Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Which one did you go to?
Borough.
Borough. Okay, well,
We can put it on again.
Bao, you've outdone yourself. Clearly, you're doing an
Two
absolutely
times.
fantastic job. Your
Keep it
consistency
up.
to flavor and balance and
Hmm.
just gorgeousness. Even the drinks, so fun. So fun.
The drinks. Did you have a dessert?
I did. I had the Horlicks ice cream,
You have to.
obviously. You
You
have
have
to.
to.
And there was this sauce that I was like, I want you to bottle this up and let me buy it because I will buy
On
it.
what? What was it on?
It was on the smacked cucumber, which isn't my favorite. It isn't something that I would order. Not that I
Hmm.
don't like it. There's not much that I don't like to eat, but it was incredible. I loved it as a starter. It was so good. The aubergine, oh my God, it was just melting away. And then it had this like really nice, um,
Glaze.
no, it had a crumb of just
Oh.
batter scrumpled on top. On top.
Onomatopoeia. That was a bit of ASMR.
Yeah, and it was just amazing. And I want to buy the Horlicks ice cream because it was incredible. Everything was good, 10 out of 10, no notes. But it was a mellow night. It wasn't like a crazy one. We had the prosecco at her flat before, and then left. Do you know what's funny? Mel had invited me round to her flat, the scene of the crime where I was just expelling all of the vodka, and I was like, "What if I come upstairs and she's like, 'Hey girl, you know the vomit that you left in that bucket? Yeah, I left it here for you. It's waiting for you to go and dispose of, please.'" But thankfully, Ron came to the rescue and was the one who cleaned up all of the.
What?
Yeah.
As in it was still there?
No, Ron had done it before we got in the Uber.
Shut up.
Yeah, I don't know when that would have happened, but she was like, "Yeah, I knew that Mal wouldn't have been able to hack it the way that she was gagging."
Oh my God. I don't know when Ron would have done that.
I know. Well, I don't know.
Wow. Hats off.
I know. I
Hats
know.
off. That's another reason why I don't want to be a mum. I don't want to have to clean up someone else's sick.
Anything for speaker for you?
Yes. So I'm putting on speaker Project Hail Mary. It's a film. I went to see it. So I actually, me and Alex had been talking about going to the cinema to watch either the drama, so that's one with Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, or Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling. Is that Ryan?
That's the correct Ryan, yes.
Yes, the Ryan Gosling. And every time we go to the cinema, we always book our tickets on the day and we never have any issues. Both of these films have been out for how many weeks? And for some reason, no cinema in London had any seats for like an evening viewing of either of those that wasn't, unless the seat was literally right at the front where your neck would just be straining the whole time. So in the end, we just rented it at his house. So I went round to Alex's and he got it on the Sky. And yeah, we got some popcorn, got some Chinese, and we watched it. It was really, really good. So if you like sci-fi films and movies, you will enjoy this. It was, yeah, I found myself comparing it to Interstellar quite a bit as I was watching it because it felt like a similar kind of theme of like a someone going out into space.
Not too much.
Cheers. I'm not going to
Not
spoil
too
it. I'm
much.
not going to spoil it. I'm just talking about the theme of like someone going out into space. Do you know anything about it?
No, and I actually don't want to know.
Okay, but okay, fine. So someone's out in space for the greater good.
Okay. Because
And
basically,
maybe along the way
shut up. Basically,
and
Will.
maybe it ends with yeah, no, but yeah, so I thought so the themes were similar to Interstellar, but the tone was a lot more light. Whereas Interstellar felt quite intense and very deep
Dark.
and like do not go gently into the dark night.
Yeah.
Whereas this one was a bit like, yeah, playful at times.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. But you were gonna say that Will's been pushing you to watch it.
Yeah, because Will read it on his Kindle recently and he's been really, really wanting to watch it. And I was like, don't watch it without me. I want to watch it as well. And we just haven't found a time when we could. Because Will can just get up and watch a movie. I need to be in the right movie headspace to watch a movie. I can't just
Mm.
wake up and watch a movie. Do you get what I mean when I say that?
Yeah, yeah. You have to have made the plan to watch the movie like a few days before, or sometimes you can catch the mood for the movie.
Yes, yeah.
You may not know that's coming. It's usually like the air has to feel right, and it's usually on a Sunday.
Yeah. But Will can also watch back-to-back movies. Like you can
Whoa,
just watch movies.
he must have a really healthy attention span.
I think he does.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, when we were over the weekend, we also were helping our sister move out of her flat because apparently the theme of this spring is everyone's moving out. So we're helping her take out all her furniture down and stuff. And me and Jid were fully taking advantage of the fact that there were like three strapping young men to carry all the things down, and we were directing and we were like doing the logistics. And to be fair, we were in it with our assembly line, we were on it, but
Yeah.
we weren't doing as much as we could have done, maybe some could
Yeah.
say. And but Will was so like he didn't want to wait a second to do
No. And anytime there was a chance to have a break or
any
take a
lull.
break,
Yeah, any lull. He was
yeah,
like,
he
okay,
would just
should I
wanted
start
what to
packing
do.
stuff? Should I start wrapping stuff? Should I take is
Right?
this good to go down? And I was like, but I understood why that was the case when all was said and done and we had finished, and he was rushing home to get to the sofa to have a beer and watch something. And I was like, that is so real. Get all the work out of the way. I need to run home to my sofa and my beers so I can just enjoy my Saturday.
It was killing me because I was just like, I'm enjoying this, the chatting, the like standing around, having a nice can of
Literally.
Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
so funny.
But yeah, that's my speaker, Project Hail Mary. I think Chid, you should put Will out of his misery and watch it this
Yeah,
week.
no, definitely. I'll
It
prioritize
is
it.
good. It is good. And make it the whole cinema experience. Like get the popcorn, do the whole thing, dim the
Yeah,
lights.
I'm actually tempted to go to the nearby cinema and get a hot dog and a Tango Ice
Oh,
Blast.
yes. Why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
get the sound bar on, dim the lights,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
just yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
he's rented it already, so it's just a matter of pressing play. So
What
yeah,
did
we'll
he
do
rent it
that.
on?
I don't know. I'm actually not sure.
Okay, cool. All right then. Anyway, I think that's quite enough for this week. Yeah, not the conversation we're expecting to have today, but quite an important one in any case and quite interesting. Share your experiences. We actually didn't touch on anything to do with like only children and what that might feel like. Obviously, we were speaking mostly about sibling dynamics and the rivalry part. So if you don't have a sibling, then maybe probably you haven't had that experience. But what are your challenges? Maybe that'd be quite interesting to hear. Are you a parent? Is it something that you think about in terms of age order and how you treat each one? What's your perspective on the topic? It'd be really interesting to hear and get that discussion going. Follow us on our socials at Stay on the Line Sis on Instagram and TikTok. Feel free to comment on any of our recent posts there. Drop a comment on YouTube and Spotify. And if you have a longer analysis to share or you really disagreed with something that we said, then send us an email. Stay on the line, sis at gmail.com.
Yes. And also, do not forget to subscribe to us on YouTube so that you know exactly when we drop an episode. And
Yes.
don't forget to rate the podcast 5 stars on
Mm-hmm.
Spotify.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right, then. Well, talk to you next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.